Thanks for staying with us. Now, according to Okosi Simbine 2010, the state of the legislature has been identified as the strongest predator of the survival of every democratic development. Legislature serves as an essential constituent for any democratic government and a major factor in its sustenance. Now, its existence predates the advent of modern democracy. It has been noted that the emergency of the legislature dates back to the 12th century and is a product of medieval European civilization transformed in the age of democracy to suit the needs of contemporary politics system. Now, considering the obvious weight the legislators carry, do you believe they have an impact in the Nigerian governance? Or, as it pertains to us right now in Nigeria. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I'm going to come to our lawyer first, our in-house lawyer, before I come to the guest lawyer. Mani, how important is the legislator when it comes to governance in Nigeria?
They are very, very important because they help to make the law. And they help in budget oversight, they help to check everything. They are for the citizens. So they carry the voices of the citizens and, treat everything that has to do with them. So if they are sleeping on duty, then the citizens are going to suffer. Their people are going to suffer. And that's what we see in Nigeria because most of the time they are away from their people. So you see them away from their constituency or whatever they call that. So they don't hear it. They can't bridge the gap that they are supposed to be bridging. Yes, so that's the problems we have.
So I like the quotes that we took today. It says the greatest single virtue of a strong legislature is not what it can do, but what it can prevent. Right? And we see that there are so many things in terms of lapses and gaps that we see in our governance today. So do you think our legislator, Isilem come to you, do you think they are working? Are they doing their job?
I would say no. Frankly speaking,
is it a no or?
That's where I'm going to, frankly speaking, to an extent, no. And also to an extent, yes. They're not doing their job in the context that they are not feeling the pain of the people. They're not calling the people to feel to listen to them, to see what they want, and go back
and be the voice
of the people. So are they? Yes, they are working. They are there. They're doing something. And you said something about them sleeping on duty. Oh, yes, they do sleep on duty, and it's caught on camera. But the key thing is they are not representing the voice of the people.
Okay. Let me bring in our guest. Opeyemi Immanuel Aderibigbe, I think I got it right, is a seasoned business lawyer and currently a senior associate at the leading commercial law firm in Nigeria. She has over a decade of cognate experience advising international and Nigerian clients across different sectors on corporate and commercial law. She has published over 50 articles on technical and soft professional skills aimed at helping lawyers and young professionals achieve growth and purpose. And she's joined us live in studio. She was looking very,
very young here. Wow, is that you? Really? Wow.
She's that
was a younger you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much,
Opeyemi.
I mean, this is an interesting conversation because for us, every Mondays, we are very, very clear on how we want to drive conversations around governance, leadership, and politics. I mean, we're in the season. 2023 is just around the corner.
Yeah.
And, it's so interesting that I think it was when I started being on television, I now understood the importance of legislature, and the House of Judiciary and all of that. When we vote, once the presidential candidate that we are voting is a particular party, that's how we just follow the thumb across. We are not even checking, is this person representing my interest in the House? And this is a common error that everybody makes. It's still a big issue because people do not even care who the legislators are. They don't. So maybe you should help us break it down. How important are they when it comes to good governance or delivering good governance for any society?
Let me start from what governance is, because over time I have learned that that's even the first point of call. as society, we exist with different interests. So people, resources, we came together in Nigeria as, north, south, east, west, and the many divisions that we still do not recognize, right? And the idea of governance is that there is this central body that is representative of the whole, responsible for administering resources, responsible for entrenching culture, responsible for ensuring that respective rights are protected, right? And when you look at our environment, on every one of these indices I've mentioned, and these are just 3 of a billion, right? You would find us at fault in some way. Now, the structure of government takes different forms in different countries. In Nigeria, we have the executive government, which is responsible for the management. So you can say they are the CEOs and
of the companies.
Exactly. And then you have the legislature. Now, the legislature is not just an advisory board, or the legislature is supposed to be a check and a balance. So one of the critical indices for the legislature is independence, separation from the executive.
So that's
and then, of course, you have the judiciary, which is supposed to be like an arbiter to look into issues and then, enforce what we have all contracted, what we have all agreed. Because the truth is that we are in a social contract.
Yes.
That is what it is between the government. Whether or not the contract is serving us is in question, So that's it. The independence of each one of these units is very essential to their function. If they're not independent, then you can't even get governance. That's because at some point, there will be need for checks and balances. It's just like moving. A car in motion would always need to balance, And so when you're thinking about whether or not a legislature is essential, I don't even think the question arises, because if you have managers who are dealing with the day-to-day, there are certain things they will be blind to, right? The legislature is supposed to take a look at that and step in. Now, what are the primary functions of the legislature that law has even said? To be honest, there are really only 2. To make laws.
Yeah.
And then to also investigate work done by the executive, look into that.
Like be their watchdog.
Yeah, be the watchdog and the balance. I mean, because when we use watchdog, is part of why we also have this drama.
Fight, yes.
Do you understand? So let's say there's supposed to be a balancing effect, such that where decisions are made and they're not representative of the people, there is somebody that is saying, no, this is not I am representing this constituency. It doesn't serve my people, right? Now, we have 360 members of the House of Reps. We have a bicameral legislature, so we have the Senate and we have the House of Reps.
Yeah.
That's also a balancing, dance there as well. And the idea is that each one of these people is representing a subsect of the society. So I am from Ondo State, I'm from Oyo State, I'm from a particular local government. I'm representing the interests of those people at the state level and at the federal level, because we must always remember now, as you said, that is not just it's not just the federal government. In a federation, you have the federal, you have the state, you also have the local government. And we don't actually put our line or vision on these divisions every time. If something goes wrong, it's the president. You're not thinking that there's actually someone that you elected here that's supposed to be responsible for that. So those are some of the issues that we have. So do we have governance? I will say not yet, right? We're still, but then I don't think it's a problem, and it's a personal view. Our democracy is nascent. It's how old? It's not even 30 years, right? So, and we are norming and forming, so it's like getting to a contract, you see it doesn't serve you. You go back to the table.
30 years.
It's okay. It's okay. Maybe we should honestly have these conversations, because we wake up and compare ourselves to
The
America, France.
But they've given us laws based on these countries.
No,
Hold on,
let me
let her land.
Let me land. They've given us laws. We import a law. Does it represent our interest? Does it serve our actual problems? For instance, recently there was this debate that our representatives and our government are going to sit down at zero environmental net zero environmental pollution when we haven't even started production. We are not polluting anything, right? That's not our priority. So I would like us to look at it as we need to domesticate our problems. We need to domesticate our issues. We are on a path of growth. And I think the conversation gets better, or we have a more positive approach when we look at it like that. America didn't arrive at America today. There were civil wars, there was drama, there was segregation that is still alive today.
Okay,
yes.
I like where you're going, but you said something earlier. Sorry, Isi, you said something earlier. Are you trying to say that the current legislator that we have today, they do not have that autonomy, they don't have that independence from the executives?
They don't operate
like
independently.
That. Okay.
I think that's the way to put it. Because having has a context that maybe you weren't given. The law, the constitution, which is the governing document, says they have it. So if you look at section 456 of the constitution, it talks about the delineation of these three arms of government, and it's very clear as to their duties, responsibilities, and the divisions that they should have. You also have sub-legislations across board, even at the state level, on the things that they can deal with, the things that they can share powers on. So in terms of having, it is there. But in terms of operation, which is what delivers governance, because we must separate structure, politics, and governance. There is structure, how we are formed. There is politics, which is a critical influencer in the process of delivering governance. And then there is governance, which is the actual delivery of services.
When are you starting your political school?
So, and many times when you're having these conversations, everybody's talking, if we separate it across these lines, this is a structural problem, this is a political problem, and this is a governance issue. If we separate it like that, it's easier for you to know where the problem is stemming from. Governance is the purpose of government. If government allows structure or politics to prevent it from delivering governance, it's not fulfilling purpose.
You have just nailed my question. My question, honestly, which has to do with politics.
Okay.
And we play politics in Nigeria based on parties. And the parties are the ones that are being represented in the legislature by the individuals or the honorables, of course. Now, in terms of them carrying out their duties, how do they strike a balance between politics and governance?
That's $1 million question.
That is, because I see us doing politics more than governance.
That's my view as well.
So how do we strike that balance? How do we hold them to strike that balance?
Okay, so politics is a tool. But in Nigeria, politics is not yet a tool for governance. People conflate politics with governance. So politics has become a distraction, right? Politics has become a distraction to the delivery of public good, because that's why government exists. We must always go back there. So every time I hear, for instance, a legislature say, oh, I built a road, I was like, that's not your role. You weren't asked to build roads. You were asked to go sit in the legislature, to represent your people, to escalate their problems from the floor to the forum
with your town crier
that you're speaking. So for instance, in a Lekki, there is a significant drainage problem. Maybe it's based on the structure of the city in that area. As a legislator, at the state level, because there will be different issues. There are certain things that cannot be considered at state level. there are certain things that can only be considered at the executive level, that is the Federal Assembly, and that's because the Constitution has delineated it. So there is the executive list, which has items that only the Federal Legislature can deal with. You have the concurrent list, which both state and federal can deal with, and then you have the residual, which the state can step in when nothing governs it, right? Now, if at the state level that's an issue we can deal with, I take it to legislature and say this is a problem. It's essential because it's affecting the delivery of the public good, the economics of the state. Maybe we should draft a law that speaks to this, set up what's it called, maybe regulations that govern how drainages are maintained there.
You set up regulations on what's it called, trash control. Yes. Because a lot of people block they clog the whatever.
And then you work with the executive to implement that law or the regulations. The judiciary is your backup. If anybody breaks the law, thank you. So that is the natural dance. But what we see is people are not even educated. People go to the legislative office is now a compensation for support. It's now I dash you, take it, you enter, you know, or you people have I mean, the qualifications in our constitution in general are not very impressive. But the qualifications notwithstanding, there are people that don't go to school that represent their society very well, right? So it's about the state. So it's you knowing your function and delivering on it. A legislator should be thinking ahead. What are the problems in this space?
So you know what I'm saying is that let's take a break. Let's take a very quick break. We'll be right back. This is an amazing conversation.
All right.
Thanks for staying with us. All right. So if you just tune in, we are having an amazing chat. We can't control ourselves here with Opeyemi on the role of the legislator and the impact in governance. I mean, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica with the hashtag WayShow. We'll read your tweets. All right. So. Manny, over to you quickly.
Yes, I was going to say two things. So for me, what I hear you say is that most of the time, these legislators, they are not properly educated.
They're not equipped for the role.
No, yes, apart from even being equipped is a different thing. I think education first.
Is an equipment.
It's a form of equipment. Yes. So they are not equipped for these roles. That's one thing. But another thing is that they are even far removed from their people.
Absolutely.
So how do we get them to sit down in their constituency? Sit down. You can't tell me that these are the people you represent, but you sit somewhere else. No, it's not allowed. You're not supposed. So how do they drive them back to where they are supposed to be?
That's the role of the people, actually. So there's a part of this conversation that has not always been in the center, and that is the office of the citizen. The citizen is actually recognized as an office in the Constitution that is given duties and responsibilities. A citizen there is a subsection of the Constitution that actually outlines your duties as a Nigerian.
Oh dear.
And the truth is, it's sad that that's not even fundamental education. It should be part of our curriculum from primary school.
I talked about it today.
Not even like secondary school where you choose to do governance.
Or civic education.
It is what makes you a Nigerian? What gives you your identity as a Nigerian? I should start learning it from 3, 4, 5 when I get into school.
But do you know, in the country, we just think because we have the green passport, that is all that we need as citizens.
As an identification.
Yes,
that's all.
Citizenship isn't even understood as duty. It is many people see it as a curse, right? That's why the Jackpot gospel
and everybody wants to get a blue passport.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? But citizenship is actually a function of governance as well.
Yes.
So you have government as a block, and then you have the citizens as the bigger block. So you are talking about 200 million people or something who are docile, who don't care, who have not owned the country. So, if you haven't taken ownership of your own quest, your own duty, and you have given me a license, because I always say something, we complain about government, but the truth is that every day we negotiate the standards of government and we say what is acceptable.
Do we even negotiate, or we just accept?
No, negotiating is as in by not doing anything.
You have accepted.
Taken a stance.
We're just accepting.
We have said that this is okay. This is fine. Every day you steal our money is fine. Give us our share. You know, then
we turn everything into a joke.
So even politicians sometimes complain and say, I actually want to do certain things, but I can't. I am aware of certain areas where local government chairmen have collaborated and said, we want to rehabilitate this area. The roads are really bad. And the citizens came together and stoned them and said they will not do the roads. That was the contract that they negotiated. That's what they wanted. They wanted to keep putting tolls on it and having all the
area boys.
The boys in the area take the money. You know, so, and you have that subset all around. You have, the truth is, you can't make people do stuff that you haven't owned. We have numbers, but the sad thing again is like a chicken and egg situation. People aren't educated. They don't even know that they have the right. They don't know that it's available for the taking. They don't know that there is, the average Nigerian uses they. There's no ownership. It's not my country. It's their country. Do you understand? So there is a sense of entitlement that a legislator will have, you know, because
I mean, thrown to them.
So I don't need to go home. I can sit in Abuja, for instance.
Nobody's questioning me. I don't need to report to anybody.
And when it's time for elections, I can take money and give them, and it's okay. But that's what we have negotiated and agreed.
So where do we start from? How do we correct it?
Where we start from is that those of us, right, who can be the bridge, the educated, the ones empowered, the ones who can speak, can begin to demand for more. Recently, we saw people circulating legislators' numbers and saying, call your legislator, ask them. Those are the kind of things that need to start happening. Now, there's a problem we have where when people are not, I mean, because we're in a phase where everybody says, sorry, it's okay, shout.
There's a talking generation.
People aren't having real conversations. You don't talk at each other to get resolutions.
Information.
It has to be. It has to. The table has to have everybody represented and everybody with recognition to speak.
With that being said, you said everybody being represented and everybody having that voice to speak.
Yes.
And this question came in and it says, how can the electorate engage their elected representative?
Okay. We know who they, first things first, how they come in has to change. All the impositions need to stop, right? It's just a fact. People that we don't elect, we can't hold accountable.
Yeah.
So our political parties have to be reformed to serve us. Our political, and how do you reform political parties? By becoming members as well. So citizens have to join political parties.
And begin to demand.
We shout that, oh, America, America. The average citizen in America has
even
an
a child.
You know, I'm a Republican.
Yes.
This is my ideology. We may not be there now. The truth is, parties are vehicles. They are like cars. It depends on who's riding them. If the citizens get involved and ride them, then you can. If you hold the politician accountable in the political party, when it's time for him to govern, you can hold him accountable. So
charity begins at home.
You can't be paying.
I was going to say that. As it stands now, right? If we say we want to hold our legislators accountable, where would be a good place? Because I am thinking in my head, I don't think I've seen any debates. The way you call the executives to come for a debate.
There have been some.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
There have been some. There was one, I think when there was a replacement recently in Lagos sometime, there was actually a debate for that.
For that particular...
I think it was organized. I don't remember who organized it, but...
Do you understand? But it's not as popular as a presidential debate, as a governorship debate. So what are we... What are going to be a good place to start?
Those are the things that we need to start doing. First, start having these conversations like we are having here, right? And reordering people's minds so that people take ownership. Because if we all don't own it, nobody would get it done, right? So at every level, state level, local government level, federal level, citizens have to take ownership. Now, is it a dangerous space? Is it a hard task? It is hard. Building is always hard, right? And we are not governance is not a process of elections. Elections are, forgive me, events. They are events in the process of governance, right? They are events. If we live from event to event, you can't achieve growth like that.
You can't build.
We must build a system of continuous nation building. So we are part of the process of installation. We are part of the process of administration. We are part of the process of change.
If we need to remove you,
do you understand? There's a power to recall. Nobody uses it.
So let me ask the question from the guest.
I like that, the power to recall.
So kindly ask your guest where the NURTW has the right in the legislature to extort money from the entire commercial motorists in the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Is it in the Constitution?
That's a question that is mischievous. But I would answer your question. You see, the NURTW has been given a pedestal that it doesn't really have, to be honest. It's an instrument that is being weaponized by different political parties, right? It's a stranger to governance. But we must not forget that it's not ghosts that are in the NURTW or any of these bodies, because I mean, spotlighting the NURTW is a little naive. There are so many blocks across board, you know, that are involved in the process of either weaponizing poverty or even making our political process difficult, right? There are people there, so there are stakes, there are interests that are being preserved there. What other interests are being preserved or escalated outside those bodies? People should own those interests as well and pitch those interests as well. When somebody comes and says this is how it's going to be done, there should be someone saying that no, it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve our constituency. You can't do it like that. Okay, this is a person we are electing. This guy has a record that is not respected, or this guy has never served us. We want somebody else that we can trust. If you can't get options there, create your own platform and begin to pitch. But I would say something, which we are in a hurry. We are in a hurry.
Because we're tired.
Because we're tired, but there is no shortcut. And if we do not educate ourselves into power, right? Know the processes. The Constitution should be everybody's bread and butter as citizens, one. Number two, we shouldn't be external to the process. Why are we saying, I mean, I see on Twitter sometimes people say, give us who we should vote for. Why are you not part of the process of selection of who to vote for? Or why are you not putting yourself out there as well? You know, so citizens actually need to take ownership of this thing. If we don't, and our strength is in our numbers, if we don't, if we're looking for martyrs, we would be, we have always had a culture of empowering saviors who later become violators, right? But now it's like people are now searching for martyrs, people that are ready to die to save them. That culture has to change. We need to build our institutions. We need to build our collective power, because that's what will keep each person safe.
I'll say that we need to be educated.
If I may step in, do you think our system of government is detrimental to the legislature?
Remember
in terms of centralization, where we have the federalism and the federal character playing out. Do you think this is detrimental? This is what is giving the legislature the Because some people are of the school of thought that they feel that, oh, the electorate didn't actually put me in there, so I can as well do what I want to do, due to the fact that the electorate is ignorant of their power. So in most cases, do you think this has a huge role to play?
I think it's a situation of, remember I had 3 lines drawn. There's structure, there is politics, there's governance. I think we have allowed politics to distract us from the
structure.
Structure is, we determine structure, let's not forget. We use PVC today because there's a law that says that's what we will use, right? Tomorrow now, a law can be passed and it would invalidate the use of a PVC, right? So I don't think structure is a big problem. Representation is our problem. People are not actually being served. People just occupy positions and are not serving the whole. Do you understand? There's corruption, there are leakages, there is really no check and balance. The legislature today is full of ex-governors.
And when they call their mates to order, they faint at the.
You know what? Let me say
so it's a lot of drama and not. We're not actually hitting. We're not doing what we are.
And it's almost like you know the funny thing is that it's almost like it's a normal thing now. As you finish 2 terms for governor, you don't enter senator.
It's retirement.
Let me take some
become a
comments.
minister.
Greetings, ladies. The robustness of our legislation is highly commendable. However, like the Rolls Royce or smartphones, there are so many features never used or applied. Sadly, lack of full application of these laws has been our greatest bane. This is from Benson. Then somebody else says, the true nature of legislative office in Nigeria provided rooms for autonomy, but it's so ironical. It's so ironical in our nation, Nigeria today, that the real function of or clarion call to legislation has been sold for a penny. Therefore, legislative autonomy is inevitable to abuse, which is constituting pain to the common Nigerian today. Therefore, my stand is that there are merchandise legislator instead of servitude legislator. Do you agree with this person?
I think we've said
I like that much.
I think because we set up political parties, we're running, and then support me, you get senator, support me, you get
I'll give it to you.
State of Assembly.
So we're giving it out.
Do you understand? People don't even have any stakes in these things. Even when they do, right? It's not based on
participation. There's no sense of responsibility. There's no sense.
How do we now demand accountability?
That's what it is.
So I think first things first, as he said, everything we need is in the law already, right? The structure says separate them, but in terms of operation, we need to now draw those lines. We've seen it happen. That's the truth. We've seen it happen in pockets. You've seen it happen in pockets. I mean, what's it called? There was one, I think, Amechi, when he was in the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly, he understood the use of his powers. But the question that comes up every time is, who is this use really serving? In many cases, we've also seen it happen where legislators have taken a stand against the executive on certain bills, certain proposals, even lending or borrowing. You know, so I don't think it's a lack of knowledge of what to
on
do,
their part,
or a system that is bad. Our structure is fit for purpose.
It's implementation.
But what you use it for is the question. And for us to have a say in that process, we need to now own the political process, because our laws still say people vying for these offices are vying through the platform of political parties. So we're either joining these parties to be part of the conversation, or we are holding the parties accountable.
I think,
I
think it's a mix of both.
It's a chicken and egg
situation,
because but we can't sit down.
Most of the time, the first time you see them is when they're campaigning for the position, and that's the last time you see them until they want to come back again. So what do we do between? We let that happen. So we need to do something between that time and when their tenure is, done. So we ask them to give account of everything they are doing. Maybe we say every 2 months, every quarter, we want to know what you're doing.
Or we need a town hall.
Do you understand? Yes. We want to know what you're doing.
Yemi, why are you laughing?
You're laughing because it's not possible, right? But we are the people. We have the power.
No.
We are the citizens. We are demanding.
I'm laughing because these things already happen. So they have town halls, right? They're town halls.
But do you attend?
But
do we know when they are supposed when we're
No, but let her learn.
they have the town halls. Sometimes they have town halls at 10 a.m. in the morning where people are going for meetings.
Going to work.
Yes. But
They know that you are after your paper chasing.
The thing we must recognize is that there are citizens who are attending those town halls.
And who are the citizens that attend?
The citizens that attend those town halls go there to demand.
Or they are jobless.
They go there to demand things. It's
Most of the time it's the area boys.
It's not
That's
only
why
the
they're
area
jobless.
boys, no. It's
True.
not just only the area boys.
Really?
It's actually not only the area boys.
Really?
The average ward meeting has a good selection of different kinds of people. Market women, area boys, regular
Corporates.
I don't think we
Still
have
maybe
enough
not.
representation from
The corporate world.
The middle class.
Yes, the middle class, if there's still one, and the people who are more vocal on social media, right? We need to carry that energy of conversation to those forums.
I think
we
so.
need to take them from our phones, our books, our social media pages, our articles. We need to take them those
in life. Take them away from the virtual world.
Because the thing is, what those citizens are demanding, and I use the word citizens because a lot of us have disrespected them. But those are the people that we delegated our power to. We asked them to represent us. So we have given them the office. And they are asking for what they think is right. Send my daughter to school, I'll vote for you. Give me money, I'll vote for you. But we sit down and say they are doing bad. We are the ones that are absent from our duty posts.
So what are we doing about that?
And we need to go and
when do we start?
So Yemi, I'm going to charge you with this. When we finish the conversation, you will tell us how to go. We follow you behind. But thank you so much. We've had an amazing conversation. Rafael Akori says most of our politicians are not leaders, and as long as we continue to give them a place of leadership, the future will continue to be bleak for us, because here the politicians are just businessmen and women. Okay, on that note, thank you so much, Yemi. thank you
for having
thank
me.
you, man. We had a fantastic conversation. We are going to be, you are now our new best friend.
Thank you. And I think this is a fantastic platform.
Oh, thank you so much.
All
right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's at PlusTvAfrica and at PlusTvAfrica1. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our social media engagements. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. We are driving important conversations. We're trying to re-engineer the minds of young people, understand what you need to know before the elections, not after the elections to be crying wolf. All right, so if you missed today's quote, here it is again. The greatest single virtue of a strong legislature is not what it can do, but what it can prevent. Think about that quote. It's very, very powerful. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.